Forcier puts it up. It's well short. Time has expired. The Gee-Gees win the 55th Panda Game.
Wade.
No, just
Six.
take it away.
The number is 6. That's all I need to say. Those who know what the number 6 means. It is the 6th consecutive year Pedro is returning to his comfortable and rightful home, the University of Ottawa. Oh man, what a game though. I mean, the Carleton Ravens led this thing for damn near 4 quarters. They almost mounted a hell of a comeback. And despite the loss, man, Elijah Barnes played damn football. Wow. 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, only missed on 9 of his 28 attempts. Despite the loss, I know he had the 2 INTs, but certainly one of the stars of the game.
Like, here's my
one in the big moment too, right? Like the Denny Ferdinand INT was a crusher.
Yeah, that was a almost a backbreaker. But here's my issue with this, Connor, is Carlton plays and has played for the last 5 years, it seems, so damn poorly when they have a lead. Like, maybe it's something with being a Raven, because the Baltimore Ravens struggle with this too, but it's like playing with that lead is the toughest thing to do, because you have to find a balance. In Canadian football, it's extra tough of, yes, we have to kill the clock, but at the same time, our offense is in a groove. Like, they are not stopping Hache and T Ready and Kasim. Like, they're not slowing us down, so let's keep firing away. But instead, they get really internal, and the run game was working, but they turn the ball over a couple times, and they just get so insular when they play with that lead. And of course, the big swing play is the blocked punt by Brigier, and then Briere picks it up and rumbles for the touchdown. And when that happens, you're sitting there looking at it going, oh my God, like, this is all of a sudden an Ottawa game. And sure enough, they keep piling on. And when it came down to the last minute and 7 and they get the stop, I'm like, okay, well, 10 points is still a lot. And then it takes all of 20 seconds for the Carleton Ravens to come back down the field. And I went, whoa. And then Kasim Ferdinand with the biggest heads-up football play in Canadian football. Also, I'm pretty sure it was Denny Ferdinand who tried to swat the ball out of bounds from like 10 yards from the sideline. And Kasim comes flying out of nowhere to get the last touch on it as he's going out of bounds himself.
Yeah.
Like, I just kept saying, what a play, what a play.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hit the big pass from Elijah, or he has the scramble, and it's okay, well, we're close to field goal range.
Yeah.
And they kind of salt the time and play with the time. And then the play call at the end, which was most confusing to me, was let's go into a drop back pass with 8 seconds left, even though we're close to field goal range. And Ottawa was showing blitz, like it was extra pressure off the backside. And I understand Elijah's a left-handed quarterback, so he doesn't see that once he's turned his back. But pre-snap, they were starting to show like they were getting up after it. Take a quick game option. Take a run option. Like, I was talking with some people, and both alumni members on opposite sides of the Panda game. And I kept saying, like, where's the run action with Elijah? Because you want to use that seconds, you want a positive play, and you want the ball to be safe. You don't want to risk getting a negative play, especially at that distance. You already are maxing out Forcier's leg, and could we have had a shot at the end zone? Could we have had a field goal to tie it? Yes. But the negative play and the Ottawa defense just kind of turning it up that extra little bit in the second half. It was too little too late for Carleton once they started that second half run.
Yeah, no, I agree. And just to kind of circle back to your point there on the final drive before the missed field goal, like it looked like Elijah Barnes was ready to do everything and anything to get his team into a position to have a shot to win this game. But I'm with you. Yeah, then the Ottawa's defense comes in with a huge sack, kind of overpowers Carleton there late in the game, ends with a 54-yard missed field goal. We saw the 55-yard game winner last year. No such glory this year to pump this one to overtime. Ottawa taking a 35-32 win
Wait, do you
in
want to
the
hear
always electric Panda game. What's up?
the best thing for Ottawa?
Yes.
Charles Asselin, 18 touches, I
18
guess.
touches. Yeah.
93 total yards and 2 touchdowns.
Two
So
touchdowns
Connor,
and a win.
this
And a
this
win.
officially makes it the lowest amount of touches Charles Asselin has had in a win for the Gee-Gees football
Yeah.
team all year. And guess why? Because Josh Jansen played a full football game, 30 attempts. This is what we have wanted all year from your Gee-Gees. Give the ball to Charles, but we have to have something reliable outside of it. Josh Jansen has been that every time he touches the field. Finally, the Gee-Gees see the future, see the light, if you may, Connor. And that light looks like a big old panda bear.
Oh, and it looks so bright, so clean, so shiny coming back to the University of Ottawa campus for the sixth
Keep
consecutive year. I don't know if I
talking.
said that off the top or not, but I figure I'd get one more of those in before we move on to another barn burner, another nail biter. The Guelph Griffins taking a 45-40 win, topping the undefeated Windsor Lancers.
Now let's discuss something here. Guelph, special teams.
Yeah.
Odd-shaped sport ball bounces odd-shaped ways. Of course, the missed surprise onside after going up 10-0. I understand you're trying to catch them off guard. You want to bury them in that hole. Nobody thinks an onside kick is gonna go 61 yards the other way for a touchdown. But Connor, when you're up 10-0 and this Windsor team is in dire need of a passing game, like they could use a Josh Jansen. Their first play of the game, they try to throw it with Corson Roy and it's picked off. I texted you, I was like, oh, this is like the most Windsor start of the year. The run heaviest team in the OUA goes, let's throw it, let's catch them off guard, and it gets picked off. But you know that they want to rely on that run game, and if they have, like they obviously didn't this week because the carries just weren't there. But any other time you look at a game at the start and you say, how is Windsor going to attack us? It's going to be through the ground. Okay, so we have a double-digit lead. Let's start playing the field position battle because they're going to start feeling pressure to throw the ball instead of, hey, let's onside it and give them a short field to begin with and give them life. It ends up biting them real hard with the return touchdown. But I don't know. To me, this game, and I texted it to you, it was not as close as the score makes it seem. There's a lot of plays from Windsor that you went, really? Why? How is this game this close? But good teams win ugly. Like we said last week, some people are late to the train, some people are late to the party. Guelph had their moment to shine this week. That offense for Guelph, though, certainly was not freaking ugly.
No, man, it was not. And that's kind of where I wanted to go after the odd bounce in the 61-yard kickoff return for Windsor. Like it was all, like you said, it was all Guelph after that. Guelph sort of righted the ship. Tristan Aboud comes out with back-to-back really nice balls, hits one to Willem Arsenault, hits another one to Kane Stevenson in the end of the first, going into the start of the second there. And then from there on out, it was kind of really all Guelph for me in this one. And their offense, you said it specifically, Tristan Aboud looked so damn good. We mentioned the 2 touchdown passes, but he only missed 6 of his 27 attempts in this one, threw for, almost 270 yards. What an offense Guelph has managed to find here in the OUA. And it's not just Tristan Aboud. Like Donovan Malloy had himself another nice game. Kane Stevenson, we mentioned, in the receiving. Willem Arsenault has been one of the staples in that receiving core as well. It's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, it has. And I can't, we had this Aboud the Dude last year, but Connor, this team is so complete and there's no ego. It seems like this offense is truly all bought in on the 12 for 1, not 1 for 12, right? Like all 12 of us need to play as one. Not one person is going to make the difference in all 12 of us succeeding or failing. It has to be a team effort. And like I think that starts with having this buy-in from both quarterbacks that coach Mark Soraya has gotten. Like Marshall McRae and Tristan Aboud seem genuinely happy for one another to be both playing and both making an impact on the game. Like this week, it was Tristan Aboud who was running the ball, and
Yeah, showed his legs
Marshall's
off with that 7-yard touchdown run, eh?
yeah. And I can't help but think that Marshall McRae is sitting over there just kind of going, yeah, we're winning, instead of maybe some other team, some other quarterback sitting there going, that's usually my carry, that's my touchdown.
Yeah.
There are players like that, and they're few and far between, but to have two quarterbacks of this caliber playing in unison and playing with such
Mhm.
joy for one another, it rubs off on the rest of the team. And the veteran O-line keeps it going. The three monsters in the backfield, like it's such a complete offense. And had they not had the special teams gaffes, I think that this game is a 2-3 score lead instead of a 5-point lead.
Yeah, I agree. Stats are nice, but wins are a lot more fun. And you mentioned special teams gaff. A weird scamper there for Windsor as that one gets blocked and Brett Bjorgen picks it up and goes for 29 yards to the house. Windsor tried to make it interesting here at the end, and it did come down to the final play of the game where it was an incomplete pass to kind of extend the drive and give Windsor a chance to maybe go out and win this one. But man, to me, I think the theme in this one was certainly Guelph. They kind of, I don't know if they let their foot off the gas or a little bit, or they kind of got up a little bit, but
Just three weird bounces.
weird bounces, tighten it up in the fourth quarter, but Guelph looked damn good, and they played a good football game there. Speaking of teams that can win, Wade, we said
Connor,
this was a winnable game for the York Lions.
bring on the helmet decals.
Hey, they go and get a 39-24 win
And
over
not just
the
that, Connor.
Waterloo Warriors.
This game, okay, explosive plays from Sean Law in the offense. The Hail Mary to Avery Ford at the end of the half to make it
Oh,
a one-score
yes.
game. A part of me was watching this through, and it's 20-7. I'm like, oh, here it goes. They're gonna pound Springer and Miller, and this game's not gonna be very close. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, York's back in this before the half because of a Hail Mary. What? And you almost want to say that's the difference between Matt Lynn and Sean Law is just the arm talent that he has. I know he's not the runner of Matt Lynn, but be able to throw it 37 times, and it wasn't all screen plays. A lot of it was chunk yardage. Avery Ford, who's just a massive, tall receiver out on the sidelines, coming in from the CJ, 2 touchdowns, 123 yards on 8 catches. He almost had a back shoulder fade in the goal line in the first half as well. In the first quarter, I think. Yeah, the first quarter, where he kind of like his foot landed out of bounds, but it was really close to being a nice catch. I don't know. I was surprised to see York make a comeback win like this, but I'm really happy they did. It was great to see from Sean Law.
The thing that I really want to talk about here with York, the thing that impressed me most is the fourth quarter that they had, because what they put together, they were really able to kind of come together and put the game away. It starts with a 22-yard bomb from Sean Law to Avery Ford to put them up 31-24. And you're like, okay, one score game, that's pretty manageable. And if you're down in a one score game, you're like, that's not so bad. This is football. Like, all we got to do is go out there, trust ourselves, play us, and that's fine. But York comes out and has a huge defensive stand. They force a block on Cole Crossley, who's a pretty consistent kicker in the OUA in his own right. But York gets through, gets in his grill, gets the block, and then they go out and Sean Law is still slinging the rock, completes a couple to Avante McCoy, Avery Ford. Now they're in range, and he throws another laser to Hardesty for the 6-yard touchdown to put them up 38-24. They'd had a rouge before the end of that one with 39-24. And York, it was the fourth quarter that sealed it for me, and that's where I was most impressed with this Lions team.
Oh yeah, and like even you go back to the tail end of the third quarter, the Rex Walker, who's been doing some of their short yardage work, that's 22 unanswered points, Connor, for the York Lions. And when we looked at this game, you and I both kind of said between ourselves, I don't think we vocalized it on the podcast, but we've said it in previous weeks. York has played very good run game defense, and they held Anthony Miller to 130 yards. I know it sounds like, oh my, well, he still creased them. But the amount of TFLs that they had, there were some big hitters early, but it seemed like as the game went on, they found their keys, they found their ways to adjust. And that Greg Knox defense, it's always been a thorn in the side of teams in the OUA.
Mhm.
And it looks like as the York Lions have developed through this year, and Coach Janke has really put his staple on this program, they've found out their identity and they've found the way that they're going to be nasty. And sure, they might give up some yardage in the pass game. And I think that Waterloo had to play a bit left-handed, throwing the ball 40 times.
Mhm.
But against the run, they're gonna die on that hill of we're gonna stop something. And after Anthony Miller and Quentin Springer had some pretty big gains early in the game, it really tapered off. So kudos to Coach Janke and the coaching staff that he has assembled, because they're making this work with what may not be the most talented roster in the OUA, but they're being coached the hardest, I think.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to prove with this program, and I think they're squeezing every ounce of juice out of this roster, and I'm excited to. I know I'm a couple weeks ahead of myself, but I'm pretty excited to see what this York team can do in the off season in terms of recruiting and building on this solid base, and what it's going to look like in the future. Because if York can become a threat, makes the rest of the league more competitive, and it's just great for OUA football in general.
I agree. I agree. Well said. Let's move on here, though, because we have two more games to get to. A little bit lopsided
Taylor
here to close out the week.
Elgersma.
That's where I was going to go. This Queens Laurier game, 51-21 win for the Golden Hawks. But this was,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, this was the Taylor Elgersma show.
No, this was the Laomi Ochutalayo show, Connor. Let's be honest. 81-yard touchdown to kick things off. I know it was their second touchdown of the game, but 81 yards. He outruns every single defensive back from the Queens Golden Gales. Matt Camillo and Leo answer quickly, and then they just walk right down the field in 3 plays. There was a big one to EJ, and then Ojutalayo scores again, second one of the half. And as Queens was kind of looking at it, it was kind of a close game with Jasari scoring, and they're only one scored down, and then it was just like a minute and a half of onslaught from the Laurier Golden Hawks, or I guess 2 minutes, where they put up 10 extra points to close the half, and what was a one-score game.
Back.
Yeah, what was a close game turns into a whoa, where did that come from? Where did that go? Fun fact, Taylor Elgersma, I think he trucked 2 people on the opening drive for the Laurier Golden Hawks, and then since then he just kind of went, oh, what was the stat I texted you? Okay, the fun stat of the day. Taylor Elgersma trucks 2 people on I think like the opening drive for the Laurier Golden Hawks. Connor, he had 7 total incompletions all day. I think like 4 of them were in the first 2 drives, and a couple of them were drops. So this man played outside of 2 drives, a 3 incompletion, 417-yard, 5 touchdown performance where he added 50 yards on the ground, and probably could win the angry run scepter of the OUA week if we had one.
Certainly could. That man can certainly drop his shoulder and go through somebody if he wants to. He
at his height, you
run the
don't
ball.
expect it. You don't see it coming until it's too late. No, I Connor, Ethan Jordan was fantastic again.
Absolutely.
9 for 183. But to me, this one was kind of more about the Queens defense and the amount that they got shredded. And usually that's their strength, right? Like the DBs and this pass rush. They got ripped apart. And then the Queens offense, 9 carries for Jared Cesari, 10 total touches. Like that's your number 1 player on offense. Your team has hung their hat on running the football and being aggressive and downhill and getting pulling guards involved, and 10 touches total. Just seems a little odd to me with a backup quarterback that's the game plan on the road.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think to me, Laurier looked comfortable in this one. Queens didn't really do anything to kind of shake El Gersma, kind of take him off of what he's able to do with the football and the things that Laurier is able to do really well. They just looked comfortable from the hop and stayed comfortable for the rest of the game. But speaking about games that started with explosive plays here, how about an 85-yard pick six from Ryan Barthelson to ignite a 61-26 win for the Western Mustangs over the McMaster Marauders in the last game that we're going to talk about here before we move on to our previews later in the week.
Did we see this, or did you see this hit? Like, have we shown it for the audience? Because Keegan Hall is just trying to get the ball out, and
Yeah,
there is
it's
someone that has a mean streak
it's
towards Keegan
credited
Hall.
as a pick six for against Keegan Hall, but really it was a hell of a play from the Western defensive line because you're right, he got rocked. He was just trying to get the ball out of there. Ball
And
comes
that
out
poor thing
weird
just
and
squeaks out.
oh yeah, that's just you cannot pin that interception on a quarterback. There's many interceptions that you can pin on quarterbacks. That was not one of them. But Western
No,
certainly capitalized on that opportunity
and
and
I
did not
mean,
let up.
yeah, Hillock plays late into the fourth when they're up almost 40 points here. Like it's a lot to say let's keep pounding the rock. And I know there's some bad blood between these two schools. Hillock and co. Keanu Yazbek is the bell cow, I
Oh,
think, at
ball
this
game.
point, right? Like
What a
he's a
ball
home run
game.
hitter, and
Yeah.
142 yards for him, and a receiving touchdown as well.
Yeah.
So he certainly made his mark. But Connor, like you said, this defense was suffocating for Western.
Yeah, Western certainly put the foot to the gas and didn't let up and their defense, like you said, was suffocating. I think that's a perfect word to
One punt.
describe. Yeah, one punt. That speaks volumes. And I think that is a good place to end it before we head into the rest of the week. We get into the previews later in the week. As always, remember to check these games out on OUA.tv. It's not just football, it's sports season in the OUA. Watch whatever you would like, whatever you want outside of football. OUA.tv is your place to do so. We will catch you guys later this week, teeing up the rest of the games.